Greetings, BlazeLeeDragon here. And I have a video response to my own video, actually. The video response I have is in regards to some comments that I got. First of all, I think it's very amusing, because currently, as of today, 5/2/2012, it would appear that I've got 4 likes and 4 dislikes. And I assume that would be the case, which is fine. I don't expect everybody to like what I have to say. After all, it is my opinion. The responses that I would like to read are the ones that I would like to address specifically, and that's why I'm going to say them. The first one is from Laying in Grass. I saw the ing twice, so I pronounced it twice. But anyway, Laying in Grass. She typed a response to Matrix Coven, and I don't know where Matrix Coven's original comment was. There it is. I think this is the one. Nope, that's in a reply to hers. So they went back and forth a few times here. It's kind of hard to straighten them out, but I would like to at least read this one, because it's specifically asking a question, and I just thought a video response would be fun to do again. So, Laying in Grass says to me, I typed out my response according to what he said, and not by what I assumed he meant. I'm sure there are many young people out there who identify with an idealized version of what they believe is a witch. For most solitaries, titles like High Priest or Priestess are irrelevant to our paths, to each their own. I do not harbor any disdain towards covens and their traditions. It's apparent, though, that the video was cut short. I am interested in hearing any elaboration Blaze may have on this topic. Might help if I find the original one, so that we can see what they're responding to. Ah, here's the original one. No, wait, that's more recent. Let me scroll down. So that one is before. Let's see. Bear with me here. I didn't come as prepared as I thought I did. Okay. As far as your idea of a real witch attaining their title through tradition, I do not completely agree. That is like saying one must receive instruction to become an artist or a musician, which is not the case. You may learn as though I have through hands-on experience and observation. As a student of nature, science, and magic, I became a witch and an artist without instruction from another human being. She also says, or Lying in Grass also says, I don't know why, maybe she's not a female, maybe it's a he. The individual laying in grass, one must live and experience and develop skills and abilities in order to attain a title such as witch. I was learning from elements of nature and practicing forms of witchcraft long before I even knew that was what I was doing. Once I began studying the occult, I began to put the pieces together and discovered who I am. I am a witch and always have been. With a smiley face. Now, her response to something that Matrix Coven said, his original one, you are right. I'm pretty sure most people feel they resonate with the idea and path of what they believe witchcraft is and call themselves a witch based on that. I get it. However, most do not realize that a witch, not always the word used, is similar to a title like magus or priest or priestess. An initiate of Sufism is not a Sufi. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. An initiate of masonry is not a mason. So then what should a student of witchcraft call themselves? I consider myself an eclectic ascetic based on my studies and practice. I'm not sure you can be self-taught, but I think what he means is you can't just read a book by Silver Ravenwolf, like it, and then suddenly you are now a witch. I'm pretty sure he means you have to actually make effort over a period of time and keep a consistent practice. We can read about Picasso and art techniques like them, but that doesn't make us an artist. To be an actual witch means that there should be some level of proficiency a person attained, some use of the priest-priestess title, I suppose. I want to kind of address both of these individuals a little bit, because I thought your conversation and your back and forth was very interesting. I thought it had a very good points to it. What I want to address with it is to clarify, first of all and foremost, this is my opinion. These are all my opinions. It doesn't make me right. I'm just speaking out my arse. So, with that in mind, let's talk about witch and witchcraft. The reason I'm picking on witch and witchcraft specifically is because it's so popular. And not only is it popular, but now it's being meddled into the fad known as Wicca. That's going to piss off a lot of Wiccans right there, because what I said was extremely offensive. And I technically intended it to be. And the reason I say that is because, though that there are Wiccans out there that practice Wicca, and an actual form of Wicca, there's a ton that I've met that are book Wiccans. And that's the point that I wanted to get to. A lot of people are book witches or book Wiccans or whatever the case may be. There's nothing wrong with that at all. If you can find your spirituality and purpose behind your spiritual path in a book, more power to you. I mean, after all, these authors, they're intelligent, they're smart, they know what they're talking about for the most part in most cases, and you can definitely learn something from anything and anywhere. The reason that I have such an issue with it is, what is the point in claiming the title of witch? Honestly, the reason I think it's stupid to call yourself a witch is because I disagree with what you're saying about an artist, because I don't think an artist applies to this situation. The reason I say that is because an artist is a general broad term. That's like saying you're a magical practitioner. Every single one of the individuals that just picks up the book randomly or are self-taught are magical practitioners. Truly are magical practitioners, no doubt in my mind. But being a specific type of style, such as witchcraft, let me give you an example that's a little more broadly used in, everyday speaking and talking. I write poetry. I write what I consider poetry. Is it good? I have no fucking clue. But I enjoy writing it. I am not formally trained as a poet. So, I can say that I'm a poet per se, but there's types of poetry, and I would not consider myself classified as that type of poet because I've never had any formal training in that type. What makes a witch is practicing witchcraft. Throwing things together and mixing and matching it, making it your own is not witchcraft. That is magic. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not witchcraft. You can argue with me. You're entitled to your own opinion. You don't have to agree with me. You can start clicking the I don't like below if you'd like to, but I'm expressing to you my personal thoughts and feelings. I used ninjutsu as an example last time, because ninjas is another thing. Martial arts is a practice that ninjas do, or shinobi. You can go to a school, as an example, Stephen Hayes in Dayton, Ohio. He has an actual ninjutsu class. He's gone and learned ninjutsu. There is arguments, of course, how authentic that is. Regardless, that is a ninja school. They're going to teach you ninja techniques, so his students are ninja. Just because you go out there and you teach yourself some martial arts or read in a book, watch a movie, it's not going to make you a ninja, even if you closely resemble one with your techniques and practice. We live in a society today where you do not have to limit yourself to one path. There's no reason to. When most of the people that I speak with that are eclectic, pagan, heathen, polytheistic, just open-minded in general, mix and match because there's so much wealth of knowledge everywhere that you can go to. It's individuals that stick with one specific path that claim titles. Hindus, for example, they're polytheistic. They believe in multiple gods and goddesses. Depending on the Hindu you talk to, they might consider themselves a monotheistic and say that there's only one god. There's just aspects of that god. Regardless, that individual is a Hindu. They follow the Hindu path. They don't seek other paths. So if you're mixing and matching other paths, or you're picking up random bits and pieces from a book, you're not, in my eyes, a witch. You study witchcraft, that's fine. But in my eyes and in my vision, it's similar to being a doctor. You can't take a few medical books, even if you know it, even if you know the human anatomy, you're still not a doctor yet. This is just one interpretation. I don't understand the whole big thing with the fad of witch. If you're claiming the title of witch, that doesn't connect you with some sort of ancient path. It doesn't make you part of this huge society. You're just randomly claiming a title. If you want to do that, that's fine. If you consider yourself a witch, you truly believe you're a witch, you practiced it on your own, you learned it on your own, more power to you. That's fine. I'm not telling you not to call yourself a witch. I'm just telling you my thoughts about it. I don't feel, to me, in my eyes, that there's any purpose behind it. What are you calling yourself a witch for? Because you know some magic? Being a magician or a magical practitioner, sorcerer, or whatever the case may be, doesn't mean that you're automatically every sort of classification. One of you actually threw up a link to Wiki. I like Wiki a lot, and if you read more about what it says with witch and witchcraft, the thing that bugs me with it is, with dictionaries and with Wikipedia, they're trying to say that wizard and sorcerer and magician and witch are all interchangeable, and they're really not. they're becoming muddled over the years, and technically, I guess, maybe today they are, just for the simple fact that nobody knows the original meaning of the words anymore because they've all died. Now all we have is fantasy fiction and TV shows. If you don't go with an actual coven, if you don't go with an actual witch family who's taught it and passed it down, like one of my friends, she's a 7th generation witch, if you don't pass it down like that, what claims do you have to it? You see something and you say you're that. It just seems kind of silly to me. It's like I said, with the doctor thing. I've read a book on medicine. I am a doctor. I can call myself whatever I want. You can't tell me I can't call myself a doctor. Same thing applies with witchcraft once again. A book is not going to cover it. Let me give you another example. First and foremost, let me express something. I am not a witch. I am not a Wiccan. I've never claimed to be. I'm not going to claim to be. I have done reading and research through books, talking with other people, going to conventions. I've done this since I was 13 years old. How old is that? 17 years. So for the past 17 years, I've gone around and explored different things with different paths and religions. I'm no expert. I'm no professional. I'm not a scholar. I'm not a doctor. I'm no one of consequence. I'm just a random person that likes to read about this stuff. I'm sharing these videos with you to open your mind, to give you my input and my insight. I'm not trying to tell you what to believe. Like I said, I'm not necessarily right. I've got 17 years of trying to find information. The only formal training I have has been more recently in the past 3 to 4 years. One of those examples is the one course that I am studying right now. This course, just to be the first entry level of it, is a year long. They send you information, booklets, CDs, and a tutor, and you have... It's a distance online one, but I don't want to get into it too much because I'm not representing them, and the things that I say don't necessarily reflect everything they believe. But the information that they gave me, there's a course every single week for an entire year, and this is just for the first level. There's 3 levels in this. There's 3 years of this course material, not to mention all the extracurricular things. So how can you tell me picking up 3 or 4 books is going to make you a witch when something like this is that in depth? And this is talking about history and where things come from and where it all started and what they have left, and perfectly admits what has been lost and what they're trying to piece back together. That's my point that I'm trying to get to with something like this. If you're going to call yourself a witch, you're using it very generically. If you want to use it authentically, then actually go out there and meet a witch. And I don't just mean, and you're right, some of you don't have the opportunity to. Who cares? What you call yourself is not going to change who you are. I can call myself a superhero all day long. It's not going to change who I am. I'm the one who makes who I am. I'm the one who decides what's right for me. I'm just trying to make the suggestion and put into your head to think for a few moments and not just claim something, but know something. So that's my thoughts. I think I addressed everything that was asked and what you had brought up. And this video has already gotten to 13 minutes, so you're probably bored of listening to me talk. I just want to briefly skim over it, and of course I could, take this out, but whatever. Oh, there's another comment. Dude, what's up with this, with the slight Irish accent all of a sudden? I'm going to do a special video for the 5 or 6 people who have commented on my accent. I'm going to do that separately because I'm going to get kind of nasty with you, which is not something I usually do. So I think that basically covers the basis of what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say, for what you mentioned, could someone technically become a witch through years and years of practice and study? Absolutely, even if it is through books. Sure, that's fine. If it calls to you and it feels right, if it's past life calling itself back up, part of your soul, part of who you are, so be it. But my main statement and point of that video was for the individuals who just pick it up and start calling themselves that. And that's another point I want to bring up really quick. All this Wicca crap. And I don't mean Wicca the religion crap, but I mean saying that witch is derivative from Wicca and Wicca. First and foremost, we don't speak Old English. Secondly, if that was an Old English term, which I'm not very versed in Old English, so I wouldn't know for sure. It's only popped up recently, part of this whole witch argument of why they're the same thing and some people's opinions. Not everybody agrees. I have a lot of people who disagree and think the same way that I do. That was not an old religion or an old practice. It was a term used for their generic magical practitioner, supposedly according to most of these definitions. And just because you call yourself a witch does not connect you with that. Just because you're saying witch doesn't apply to that. Because the term witch has been applied to all sorts of people all over Europe. You have witch doctors who are not even in, England and Wales and Ireland and all that kind of stuff. You have them all over the place. And I could get into more of that on the history later of things, once again, that I've read and researched into. But I just wanted to express that. And like I said, this is my personal thoughts and feelings. This is not etched in stone. It doesn't make it right. I'm self-taught. I've been self-taught for the past, well, besides for, like I said, recently in the past 3 to 4 years. Before that, I was basically self-taught. I've had the occasional class or course, but I've never considered myself anything or claimed a title because it didn't fit. Nothing. I never pursued something long enough to, in my personal opinion and eyes, claim a title. Even today, with the 2 particular paths that I'm following from actual teachers, these paths are included into my eclectic mix. It makes me who I am because I'm drawn to multiple ones. But I'm still not going to claim the title of one specific one because I don't want to limit myself. That's just not the way that I am. So, the other part that I wanted to mention with the whole witch thing and the why it bothers me that a lot of people call themselves a witch is that a lot of them are claiming these different paths and things and titles, and it has nothing to do with witchcraft. Let me give you an example. The witch's runes drives me insane. The reason it drives me insane is they're Nordic runes. They have nothing to do with witchcraft. How are you going to sit here and say that the witch's alphabet, which are straight up Nordic runes, what does that have to do with witches? Sure, did the Germanic tribes have a form of runes? Probably. I think at one time that the Druids might even had something to do with them, but even the Druids themselves had the Ogham runes, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. The Nordic people, this Scandinavian, Iceland, Greenland, Sweden, their runes that they have are separate, but they're being claimed. If there's a connection, so be it, but show me where it's at. Same thing with the term Wicca and Wicca. If there's relevance and ways of researching and show me where the documentation is, show me where the writing is, show me where the research is. How did this magically pass down and then magically appear when the argument comes up about it? Meditation. Meditation has nothing to do with witchcraft. Do modern witches practice meditation? Absolutely. It's a great practice and a lot of people have utilized it. Meditation comes from India. Once again, give credit where credit's due. That's what my frustration with this is. All the witches that I've spoken with aren't witches. They're eclectic. They mix and match, which makes me respect them more. And I don't tell them to their face not to call themselves a witch, because I think everyone personally should include different paths and grow, because that's part of life. Nobody has everything right and perfect, but I at least think acknowledgement should be given. Something. So that's my little tirade and rant that has lasted for 18 minutes. So I'm going to make the next video now. Hopefully you enjoyed. And blessings to you. And may your path be fruitful. Feel free to leave more comments, dislike, like, whatever you want to do. Like I said, it's just my opinion. It's just my thoughts. I'm nobody special. Nobody of consequence. No sage, no scholar. I'm just me. And a final point. The reason that I make these videos, the reason I'm sharing my opinion, is because I was self-taught and researched things on my own for so many years. I want to give the opportunity for those starting out to have questions in their mind, because questions and seeking the answer to these questions is what's going to get you the answers. I want you to think outside the box. I don't want you to just take one person's perspective and run with it. But that's all for now.